Hey Shannon, are you coming for breakfast?
I just have to finish this level. Oh.
Hey Shannon, are you coming for lunch?
Just one more level.
Hey Shannon, are you coming for supper?
Just one more level. I'll be right there.
Hey Shannon, it's bedtime. Are you coming?
Just one more level, and I'll be right there.
Hey, you know, I read here on the internet that playing a lot of Tetris actually makes your brain bigger.
Square block, L block.
What?
Square block, L block. Square block, L block.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Random Movie Time. Today we are actually discussing a rather new film. We are going to be discussing Tetris, the 2023 film directed by Jon S Baird, starring Taron, Egerton, Sofya Lebedeva, Nikita Efremov, Toby Jones, and Ben Miles. This is based on a true story about when Henk Rogers in the 80s was a software developer, and he was determined to get the worldwide rights for the video game Tetris. And he goes to Russia and he battles other software developers for the rights, and he gets into some crazy stuff there in the old Moscow. So what did you think of this film, Tommy?
Well, I thought it was okay. It definitely started with some promise, you know. It looked like it was going to be a fun story. It looked like it was going to be a true story, and a lot of it was, but it sort of devolved at the end. It sort of became like car chases with the KGB, and I was like, what? You know, like, the movie, I don't know, I think the story would have been interesting enough without, you know, the silly action sequences and punch-ups and all that. I thought the look of the movie was okay. They did all that sort of, you know, pixelated stuff, which reminded me, you know, of recent movies like, Pixels and Ready Player One and things like that. So, yeah, it almost sort of starts with a documentary style, but then you quickly realize, okay, this is a narrative movie. One thing that I thought was a real cliche was when they were in Russia, like, every single day was overcast or rainy or something like that, and they always do that in movies. It's like, they never have blue skies in Russia. It's like, come on, you know, it's like, I get, you know, oh, they were going for that Cold War feel, but I mean, it's such a cliche. It just, I don't know, I was like, this movie felt kind of old-fashioned. It felt like a movie, even though it was set in the 80s, it also sort of felt like a movie made in the 80s in that way, whereas, like, you'd think that, I don't know, you'd think people would be a little bit more enlightened to everything at this point. But whatever, it was a reasonably fun movie, and, you know, it was interesting to see all of the legal mumbo-jumbo that they had to go through just to release this little game. What did you think, Shannon?
Yeah, I agree with you in a lot of points. I wanted to see this film because I'm interested in video games. I'm interested in coding, and there is actually like a little scene there where they're talking about the coding and what language they use, and I thought that was really interesting, me being kind of into that sort of thing. I'm a bit of a nerd that way, but I like some of the music. They kind of wove the Tetris music into different kind of musical themes throughout the movie. It was kind of like electro disco at one point. It was just kind of fun. I liked the actors. The actors were all really good. I mean, there were some notable ones in there. Ben Miles was one of the developers of the handheld version of the Game Boy. Who he played the actor played the fellow. And he's been in, I've seen his face a few times. He was in this British show called Couplings, which was very popular in UK, and I think over here a bit too. I think they even made that one into they tried to make that an American version of that one, but he was also in Andor for a few episodes. He was really good in that. He was in The Crown. So he's done some really good stuff. Also, Toby Jones, who is a British actor as well. He's a notable theater actor. He's got the OBE. He played Dobby in Harry Potter. So yeah, I mean, there were some good quality actors in here. I was curious to see how accurate this film was, so I did a bit of research, and apparently it was pretty close, except for they really played up the KGB involvement angle, and there was a car chase at the end of the film, which didn't happen, which I thought was so stupid. I mean, why would you put in a car chase in this kind of film? It's kind of ridiculous. They really wanted to up the ante. And I got the feeling that they were really trying to make the Russians look like bad guys. Like the Soviets were the evil Soviet Republic. And the Americans were just innocently there trying to whatever, we're just trying to do business, man. It's capitalism. And meanwhile, the Russians are like, we're not capitalists. Even though backdoor, some of them were, but... And the main character, Henk Rogers, I don't know if he was like that in real life, but he was obnoxious. He was an obnoxious prick. I did not like him. I did not like the way he treated his family. And he just waltzes into Moscow, thinking that he can just get away with stuff that Westerners can get away with. He didn't do his research. He didn't know how to act there. He didn't, and it got him to a lot of trouble. So I didn't really have much sympathy for him. So I didn't really like the way they kind of played up the whole evil empire angle of that. But yeah, I mean, it was entertaining to a certain extent. They had, but the way they inserted these little pixelated shots, like setup shots and things like that. Whatchamacallit, establishing shots and things. They inserted these little pixelated establishing shots, which is really cute, but it didn't really... Strangely enough, it didn't really jive. It was a bit jarring. It didn't fit. And I know they're really leaning on the nostalgia factor here. They're trying to really cash in on the nostalgia factor. But it really didn't pan out, and it just seemed tired. It didn't, because it's been done, to death. I was really interested in learning about how Tetris came to be such a major hit around the world, and how it was all developed and brought to North America, and it was really cool to see that it actually was a Russian game, and I don't know if I knew that or not for sure, but that was really cool, and it was really interesting to learn the backstory of it. But yeah, I think it just could have been done better. And even though it was mildly entertaining, there was a lot of unnecessary elements in it. But, as I say, good actors, good acting. And that's what I gotta say. Anything else to add?
Nope.
Alright, well, how many Tetris blocks do you give this one out of 5?
I'll give it 2.5, I guess. It's a reasonably entertaining movie, but I don't think it's super realistic. I don't think it's super true to real life. There is some very questionable scenes added to it, but the acting was okay. The cinematography was okay. Yeah, 2.5. What about you, Shannon? How many Tetris bricks out of 4 or out of 5 would you give it?
Yeah, exactly, 2.5. I'll give it 2.5 as well. It was entertaining. It was really cool to learn the backstory of Tetris. But there were, as I say, and good actors, but unnecessary elements added to it. And I don't like the angle they played up with the evil empire versus the innocent Westerner coming in. So I guess we better get going because, yeah, we got stuff to do. We gotta go play some Tetris. So we'll see you next time on
Random Movie Time. By the way, there's one thing we forgot to mention. If you like the music that we do in these videos, we have a band called Sweaters on Sweaters, and you can find us on bandcamp.com. And our first single is called Death of Autumn. Just a little shameless plug there from your RMT Reviewers. See you next time.